From Alaska Teen Media Institute, this is Podcast in Place, Youth Stories from Quarantine, a series about youth in Alaska during the COVID-19 pandemic. We're bringing you stories, interviews, and audio diaries from teenagers and young adults stuck indoors without anything else to do. I'm ATMI producer Devin Shreckengost, recording this in the sound booth at my work since the main ATMI studio is closed for the time being. On today's show, we're going to hear from ATMI senior producer Daisy Carter. Daisy's cousins are visiting from California this summer. During a recent camping trip, Daisy sat down with one of her cousins to talk about the differences of how the virus is affecting California and Alaska, precautions they've taken to ensure a safe family vacation, and what they're looking forward to most about being back in Alaska. This interview was recorded on June 29th, 2020.
This is ATMI producer Daisy Carter in a cabin with my family who just traveled here from California. This is my cousin. I'm just going to ask her a couple questions about her trip up here and how it went. All right, so can you just introduce yourself and kind of just give a gist on how you know me, I know?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Chantel, and we live in California. We live in Whittier. And I know Daisy because she is my cousin. We often travel to Alaska probably at least once a year or once every other year. And even during all of the chaos that was happening, or that is happening around the world right now, we just really took all of the precautions necessary. I mean, we've been planning this trip up to Alaska probably for the last 2 or 3 months, probably right when the pandemic hit. So we've just been monitoring everything, and we have a lot of family that live up here. So even though everything's going on, we just really wanted to come up and visit everyone while still maintaining all the safety procedures.
How was COVID-19 from your perspective? Like, in California, do people take it seriously? And did you take precautions? If so, what kind?
Yes, I think in the beginning, a lot of people, and I mean, I can't speak for everyone in California, but really just kind of what I saw around the community where we live, took it very seriously. I think there was a little bit of that kind of panic that hit, I think maybe either because of misinformation or, just people really not being prepared or understanding, what this was going to mean. So we saw shortages in all kinds of essential goods like, toilet paper, certain types of food and household cleaning products just within the first few weeks that the pandemic actually hit. But other than that, I mean, our community has been really supportive. There's been some businesses who've been sourcing like cleaning products and, distributing them and reselling them to the families who, don't have those kinds of goods and essentials. Because there's still, we still have shortages in the stores, but everyone, we were put under, stay-at-home order, and everyone, complied. Everyone just really wanted to be safe. We did as well. We, got our masks early on when they said that, we needed to be wearing masks. I think even before they mandated it, because they did start giving out, or they at least said that they were going to be giving people fines, whoever was walking around the neighborhood or going out and into the areas, without wearing a mask, that, they were going to be fined because it was, really critical for people to wear them. So we've been complying, since the beginning. And I think for the most part, the community is just really trying to do as much as they can to help those who are more likely to be affected, like the elderly, allowing people to do drop-offs to people's houses, go and and opening some stores, like grocery stores, an hour earlier, and only for seniors to go in and shop before they open it up to the rest of the public. So I think in the long run, we did take it very seriously, and we're taking all the precautions necessary to keep everyone safe.
What made you decide to come to Alaska?
Alaska has just been kind of our, second home. We have family that live up here and have lived here for over 20 years. Like I said previously, we come every year to come and visit family. I now have, we have our two youngest daughters who are 4 and 5. They've been looking forward to a trip up here, and, we've heard that, Alaska hasn't been gravely impacted like, a lot of the other, the lower 49 states. So, we said as long as we're staying safe, staying healthy, getting tested, making sure that we're negative before coming up, everything, for the most part should be fine. Our family has been, doing all the social distancing and staying safe. So it's really just, as much as, we've been complying with the stay-at-home order, it's just very hard to be disconnected physically from a lot of our families. And, our daughters just kept asking, as much as we did, FaceTime and Zoom to do, Zoom Easter and Zoom, Mother's Day. It's just very different from being physically connected. And then also, we live in a really busy area. Even though we haven't been, out, we've been at home the entire time since March that we were put in the stay-at-home order. But it's just, there's not much green. It's very, there's, concrete buildings, and just for our mental health, emotional health. We wanted to come up to see our family and be out in the open, in nature, getting some fresh air, and just kind of, doing what's best for our family, and then also for our family members who also, missed having those one-on-one connections with people.
How was the testing process over there?
So in California, you can get tested in various different ways. They do have, I think just because of the population, they do have a lot of testing centers and locations. You can go online and locate, a testing center near you. They have a lot of like the drive-throughs. Or you go in your car, you don't get out, you just drive through, you have your number, and then you get tested. And you do the kit, the self-test, like while you're in the car, and then you drop that off. Or you can go and get tested with your doctor, or even in some of the drugstores, like a Walgreens or something like that. You can do testing there, but a lot of the times you need to have a referral from your primary care physician. Unless you answer, a few questions, and, you're allowed to go to a center where they don't require any kind of referral. So that's essentially what we did. And then also we live with a relative, my father, who has cancer. So, as much as we've been staying super safe, limiting any kind of, contact with anyone else, we just also wanted, as a peace of mind, just to make sure to get tested. So we did, and, we came out negative. We actually did the kind of drive-through route. So I went to the Dodger Stadium. That's where they were doing the testing. Is a massive, massive parking lot. So you have your registration number. They give you timed slots. Then you have to go during that time slot. It's about 30 minutes. You make line in the car. There's no physical contact with anyone else. You show your piece of paper through your window. They make a note of it. They mark something up on the side of your car with like another piece of paper. You drive up to this little kind of bungalow where they're handing out the testing kits. You just roll down your window about an inch or two. They pass it off using like this big like little clamp tool. Think of like a really big tong or something. Pass it off to you. You do the test in the car. We did the swab. So you swab in your mouth, bunch of different various places, put it in the little testing tube with the solution, and then you drop it off into a big bin. And then we got results probably within the next day or so.
Cool. I didn't know that. That seemed really easy. What was the atmosphere like both in LAX and the Anchorage International Airport?
Yes, so I, with the work that I do previous to COVID, I mean, I traveled quite a bit, probably, once or twice every quarter. And it wasn't, too far. It was within the States. But I'm, very used to the kind of the travel life or the travel scene, especially LAX. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, so even just traveling to visit family, it was completely different. I mean, we got there still within about an hour and a half to 2 hours before our flight left, just because we really didn't know what the experience was going to be like. We weren't sure if they were going to be taking extra precautions, having us, sanitize things, or, with there being kind of that, 6-foot distance between other people, we just really weren't sure what to expect. So when we got there, it was just very different. I think, during this whole time, I think that's really what kind of shocked me, to say like, wow, we are really living in different times, because, if you've ever been to LAX, you know what I mean, where it almost seems like it's its own city. And the minute we got there, it was just desolate. It was empty. It was quiet. The walkways were empty. I mean, there was maybe 3 or 4 other people that we could see, when we checked in our bags. I mean, I could practically hear my children breathing. It was just a really different atmosphere. Everyone was still, very friendly and helpful. And then when we went to go wait in the, at our gate, there was only just a few other people there. I was surprised to see that even though there's signs everywhere saying that you need to have your mask on the entire time you're there in the airport, there were a few people that, weren't necessarily complying. But, you can't really do anything about, people who don't want to follow directions. But it was just very different. I think I explained it to one of my relatives, like, it seemed like we were in a zombie apocalypse. You're just kind of waiting, like, what's going to come around the corridor, because it was really that quiet. And you could hear footsteps around, but you just, couldn't really see who was coming around the corner. And everything was closed too. So there was no restaurants, nothing was open. When we landed in Anchorage, I will say that felt a little bit more normal. There was, more people walking around. That really felt a little bit more normal to me. It wasn't as, busy as it usually is. But everyone was still super friendly. Everyone was wearing their masks for the most part that I could see. I think it wasn't until we kind of got further out into town that I saw that people weren't wearing masks. And I think it's just because it wasn't, mandated for people to wear masks at the time that we arrived.
What were some of the challenges, if there was any, coming to Alaska?
I think the only big challenge was us trying to figure out where we were going to get tested beforehand, and just making sure that we were staying up to date with all of the changing procedures, all of the updates. I was very nervous about, making sure that we could get tested within the 72 hours that we land. And then also just making sure that, were we going to get our results in time when we landed? We were pretty confident enough that, we were going to be negative. So I wasn't really worried about that, because no one's been sick. We've been very healthy. No one's shown signs or symptoms. And again, we've been locked up for 3 months or so, however long it's been. But I think that was a challenge, the biggest challenge really. And then, right now I'm very fortunate where we're, working from home. But so, we weren't really worried about our flights getting changed, because our return flights, have been kind of getting changed, just because, if flights aren't full, then they're not going to fly an empty plane back to LA. So I guess us being kind of flexible is a good thing. But that is a little bit of a challenge because I'm just worried. I don't want things to change too much since our girls are going to be starting school and there's a lot of things we need to prepare for. But I think just kind of the testing and making sure that we got the results back in time was the biggest challenge. Other than that, we've just been very blessed and happy to be here.
What are you most excited for your trip up here?
Oh my gosh, just being here. Just being here it's just a fresh breath of air to be up here. It's a different atmosphere. It's great to, see all of our family. It's great to see them smile, to see, that everyone is in good health. That honestly has been, I think, the best. It's been great to see my daughters just run through the woods, not having to worry about, who's around and if everyone's wearing a mask and, having their hands crossed when we're at the grocery store so that they don't touch anything and, sanitizing practically everything on us. It's been just really freeing to be up here. And it, also kind of just centers us a lot, as individuals. It just kind of brings us back to, reminding us what's important in life. It's important for us to be together as a family. It's important for us to be able to, enjoy and kind of de-stress ourselves in an environment where we feel, healthy and secure and just, very free. And I think, Alaska provides that. It's the last frontier, as they say. And, we're just very blessed to be able to, visit every now and then, including during a crazy, crazy time like now.
All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you, Shanti. I'm really excited to have you here. I'm happy that you're here. And all right. With Alaska Teen Media Institute, I'm Daisy Carter, signing off.
That was ATMI senior producer Daisy Carter interviewing her cousin who was visiting from California. You've been listening to Podcast in Place, Youth Stories from Quarantine from Alaska Teen Media Institute. Our show's theme music was composed by me, Devin Shreckengost. Stay tuned for more stories from quarantined youth. You can find these stories at alaskateenmedia.org, where we have included resources for youth during quarantine as a part of a partnership with the State of Alaska Division of Behavioral Health. Many thanks to supporters of our podcast, including United Way of Anchorage, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and the Rasmuson Foundation, through the Arts and Education Fund, administered under contract by the Alaska State Council on the Arts. Thanks to our listeners who contribute to our programs and help us leverage additional funds and grants. If you'd like to support Youth Voices in Anchorage and help keep our podcast going, you can donate to our organization by going to alaskateenmedia.org and clicking Donate. Also on our website, you can learn more about what our organization does, listen to past episodes of our podcast, or find out how you too can get involved. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For Alaska Teen Media Institute, I'm Devin Shreckengost. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there. We'll get through this together.